Battlefield 6 campaign review. This one's been controversial. Look at the like to dislike ratio. Matter of fact, let me refresh that bad boy. Because apparently they gave this a 5, and I want to see why. Why they feel like this was a 5. And then we'll compare it to some other scores. We're going Metacritic, but yeah, man, look, they smoking them on the like to dislike ratio.
At much lower.
Hold on, let's go back.
Oh God.
It's been 7 years since the last Battlefield campaign, a decade since the last one set in modern day, the intriguing but ultimately flawed Hardline. In that time, Doom and its sequels took the speed of a single-player first-person shooter to the next level. Titanfall 2 pushed level design forward in inventive ways, and even Call of Duty reinvented itself on several different occasions to varying degrees of success. But Battlefield 6 has little interest in innovation, instead firmly looking back at what made the series so successful 2 console generations ago. Aside from being an impressive technical showcase at times, its small routine set of missions has little new to offer. There is some variety and a few moments of impressive scale to be found, but it's all over so quickly you barely have time to savour them. Though it never quite feels like a full-on afterthought, it's a campaign that comes across as a sidearm of Battlefield 6's arsenal when placed alongside its more grand multiplayer suite.
There's a couple of IGN guys that people just hate their reviews, and this guy is one of them, and I kind of see why. I don't know. I think he likes certain types of games, and if those games don't fit that mold, then he's gonna shit on them. Like I've been reacting to their reviews for going on 5 years now. No, over 5 years now. So I could kind of see it. What people talking about. Battle after
Across its 9 missions, Battlefield 6 zips around at furious pace, but I couldn't help but feel that I'd done it all before, albeit at much lower fidelity. It's flashy, but lacking when it comes to genuinely interesting level design, with its great feeling gunplay not supported by what you're actually asked to achieve. On one hand, it makes sense for Battlefield Studios to take this approach and treat the campaign as a training ground for its trademark large-scale online warfare. The pure size and number of enemies that flood the screen in its missions are certainly in conversation with this, but in the other palm,
I ain't gonna lie, I do look a little choppy, I'm not gonna lie, so I don't know, maybe he's right, I don't know.
It crushes all hope of crafting a thrilling story that has the chance of stepping out of the shadow cast by those multiplayer modes. That's not to say there aren't splashes of inspiration. A particular highlight was a sequence that takes place on a crumbling New York bridge. It's at least visually interesting, even if it offers no great variance in what it's asking you to do gameplay wise. There's just no one mission that screams out as an capture any of the desired tension, or its own version of Modern Warfare's one mission that screams out as an all-timer here, even if there are attempts to ape Modern Warfare's clean house, which fails to capture any of the desired tension, or its own version of a Normandy landing as you storm a Gibraltar beach.
The graphics do kind of give
It's oddly
Xbox
very much
One,
a
I'm not
Call
gonna lie.
of Duty campaign in its map and objective design, and struggles to stamp much of the signature Battlefield large-scale action that made me fall in love with the series. I find it frustrating not to see risks being taken creatively, especially when such a vast budget is available to fuel such ambition. One later chapter set amongst the mountains of Tajikistan does take place in a wide open area and echoes the multiplayer routes of the series, as you're encouraged to take your own approach when completing the task at hand. In theory, this could be exciting, with all manner of airborne and ground vehicles ready to be controlled at your fingertips, and a vast library of weaponry and gadgets to gear up with. In practice, it presents as more of a thin veneer of choice rather than drastically different ways to tackle objectives, with the range of tools at your disposal kept frustratingly limited. You're given a drone to play with and a choice of ATVs and armoured trucks to drive, but little beyond that. I'm just not a fan of this larger map approach when it comes to first-person shooter campaigns, much preferring an authored hand-to-level design, rather than being handed a box of crayons to make my own fun with.
Set, ready to detonate.
These stretches are worryingly close to Modern Warfare 3's open combat missions at times, a memory I never wanted to relive, but at least they do feel philosophically more at home as Battlefield arenas. Thankfully, these don't make up the majority of the campaign, but what's found in its smaller scope staging isn't any more exciting. You'll often find yourself hunkering down in tight city streets or behind hulking tanks, waiting for the right opportunity to pop your head out. A run and gun mentality simply isn't welcomed here, with a patient, cover-based approach encouraged. The gunplay is snappy at least, with a satisfying
You sounds like a COD player.
You do choose to open fire. Assault rifles and LMGs pack a powerful punch and serve as efficient tools when faced with another wave of enemies.
Target above neutralized.
And sniper rifles are satisfyingly devastating, even if the enemy AI displays little brain to blow out. It gets especially exciting when the impressive destruction tech takes a chunk out of the building you've been finding solace in, and you're forced to scramble to another safe haven. These claustrophobic moments of true jeopardy really are all too rare though, as for the most part, the campaign is reduced to rinse and repeat objectives that were getting old in FPS campaigns a decade ago. Having one mission include a sequence where you need to destroy anti-aircraft guns or SAM sites can be forgiven, but doing this on more than 3 occasions is just downright boring and grinds any gathered momentum to a halt.
Yeah, I mean that is an example of like lazy level design and mission design, because doing the same mission 3 times throughout the course of a campaign, it just feels like they didn't try to innovate. Like I kind of went through that with am going through that with Doom the Dark Ages, but what's saving Doom the Dark Ages for me is the core gameplay, like the weapon variety, the abilities, when you get the runics, when you get the runics or the tunics, when you get the tunics for your weapons and you upgrade your weapons and your weapon capacity gets higher and shit like that, and searching the environment for those tools to upgrade, like the purple crystal, I forget what it's called, and then the rubies, shit like that, and then finding gold. That's what's saving it for me, to be honest. Like, the more I upgrade my weapons, the more fun I have. But I don't see that happening in this game. So I ain't gonna lie. At first I was like, hey man, he's shitting on the game for no reason, or maybe this ain't his cup of tea. But I mean, he's raised 2 pretty valid points that I agree with, you know, as far as like, you know, me judging like the validity of a review.
There are only so many times planting C4 can be considered a fun time, and all too often you're tasked with standing still amongst the action and pressing a single button in order to continue. On multiple occasions, I was asked to watch some explosions that I didn't even get to set off take place, or sit in the back of a speeding vehicle and control a mounted turret that only gives you a mild feeling of being responsible for the carnage on screen. It's on rails all too often, taking its most exciting moments out of your hands and displaying them in cutscenes, resulting in much of the campaign feeling like the most straight-faced Disney ride ever built. I wanted to be the star of the show, but I ended up just feeling like a passenger.
So he don't like Oscar bait movies. He don't like cinematic.
An early mission that takes you through an abandoned World War II tunnel network turned museum to the decades-old war serves as an unfortunate symbol for the campaign as a whole, a relic of first-person shooter design dressed up in a new guise. Being funneled through corridors towards the next static shooting gallery to gun down fish in a barrel is hardly exciting in 2025, and it barely was 20 years ago. Outside of a series of tank battles as dry as the desert roads they take place on, it attempts to sprinkle very little of that Battlefield magic into the mix, largely negating environment destruction as part of your toolkit and never once putting you in control of an airborne vehicle. Is it really Battlefield
Really?
by never zooming along in a fighter jet or unleashing hell from a helicopter gunship? There is
I don't know if I like
slight
that.
glimmer of tactical
They don't let you fly the plane in the story mode. Like, that's kind of silly.
ops magic to be seen, as you can call on your squad mates to activate their personalised skills to help you in a fight. They each come packed with their own multiplayer class flavoured abilities, such as Gecko, the recon specialist, being able to tag targets, which admittedly does make certain situations ridiculously easy, as every enemy in the area is revealed to you instantly.
Gecko, need your eyes ahead.
On it. Got 6 targets in my sight.
popular.
Ultimately though, each member ends up playing practically the same and feels like another missed opportunity to add a dash of variety into the mix. They each fall under the banner of an expert Marine raider squad called Dagger 1-3, an unfittingly sharp name for such a dull bunch. On the whole, they're a fairly cookie-cutter military unit who love nothing more than getting their boots on the ground and shouting,
Hoorah!
Memorable character moments, near non-existent. The performances and the shells of humans they inhabit are wholly forgettable, barely coming across as fully formed, and it's hard to detect any sort of emotion, even when one of their own falls in the line of fire.
They're gone, Martinez.
Nuance is hardly the name of the...
I mean, I haven't played the game, so I can't really judge it. But based off what you said, like that's one thing I'll give like Call of Duty credit for. You know, they'll make characters, like they'll make iconic characters that you want to root for, like Soap and Roach, and I'm blanking on my man's name, and I'm so mad. Hold on. And Price, and then the villains and stuff, like the plot twists and all of that. Call of Duty, like they had that down. Even Black Ops 6, I enjoyed that with Woods in them, and then they going through the story and all that, and it continues the lore. It continues to deepen the lore of Black Ops, and you're gonna continue that with Black Ops 7. Like at least they're able to world build and create lore. I think the last time I enjoyed a story for a Battlefield game was Bad Company. Bad Company was a Battlefield Bad Company that had like the jarhead humor and all of that stuff that in the marketing for that was beautiful. If they could go back to something like that, I would enjoy. But I can understand why he's, you know, judging this part of the game the way he is.
Game when it comes to Battlefield 6's campaign though, and its story, centered on taking down a rogue private military force called Pax Armata, ironically Latin for armed peace, proves to be anything but a peaceful one.
You're breaking protocol. You're never to contact me in person. I taught you both too
They're
well.
coming for you.
Who?
Pax.
It's a fairly straightforward affair that doesn't leave too much room for interpretation. For a military shooter about the collapse of NATO, it's all oddly apolitical in its presentation, and as such,
There's a country
it feels
called
like
Georgia?
It has nothing of real substance to say. It's safe, and as a result, largely uninteresting. At least Call of Duty has attempted to take on subjects such as chemical warfare and terrorism, even if they've ultimately been misguided efforts that come across as antithetical to its larger message. It's not easy to present such important themes delicately, so I can understand why Battlefield Studios may have felt like trying to fire and catch a bullet laced with hot button issues may have been a risk not worth taking, when it could simply choose not to pull the trigger at all. It just means that it doesn't have anything to say on a global or personal level, and all feels a little hollow as a result. It's a far cry from when the series did tell some engaging tales through the eyes of fun characters in its Bad Company days. I did also
Come on, didn't I just say that? Come on.
To a few annoying little glitches on the way, such as my character zipping across the screen involuntarily, fuzzy textures popping in, and occasional bullets aimed right at enemy heads, leaving zero impact.
He didn't even move. Man, if a bullet flew past, if a 50 cal blew past your face like that, you'll bop your head out the way, and then you'll be deaf in that ear.
But on the whole, there's no denying that it looks and sounds very impressive, with spectacular explosions peppering skylines and gunfire whizzing and cutting through smoke and debris as mayhem ensues around you with regularity. I just wish there was a little more substance hiding behind it all.
Okay, here we go. Here comes the 5.
9 missions and just 5 hours, Battlefield 6's campaign's flame doesn't
How many hours
burn
he
for
said?
long, and it
I'm over here
doesn't
talking.
burn at all. At 9 missions and just 5 hours, Battlefield 6's campaign's flame doesn't burn for long, and it doesn't burn particularly bright in that time either. It's a staggering spectacle to behold at times, and a treat for the ears at others. But when it comes to mission design and an engaging plot, it fails to deliver at all. A quick afternoon of fun, it's a safe reimagining of what Battlefield once was. But far from a bold reinvention of what it could, and maybe should be now.
Executive Reviews editor Tom
I don't know why they do this. I don't know who watches that. I don't. I certainly don't. But let's get the clip. Let's get the clip from him. So Battlefield 6 campaign. The internet is tearing IGN up for this review of a 5 that they gave to the campaign. But listening to how he's talking and looking at how the game looks and listening to the dialogue and things of that nature and the points he's making, I don't know. The game doesn't look as good as to me, it doesn't look as good as it did when I was playing the beta. This does give like kind of Xbox One graphics, I'm not gonna lie. And he spoke about the lack of depth in the missions and the lack of depth in the character designs. And that's one thing that Call of Duty does get right. They do create these epic set pieces that you want to play over and over, and characters that you remember. Like I was saying, the last time I remember Black Ops Battlefield doing that was with Bad Company. Oh yeah, I forgot to show the scores. So honestly, it's about what I expected. I figured that the community would enjoy the game, and I think that these reviews are mostly based off the multiplayer, because that's what people buy these games for, to be honest. When the user score and the critic score line up, that's how you know you got a good game in your hands. Honestly, the fact that they gave the campaign a 5 I think is largely irrelevant, because most people aren't even checking for the campaign. I know people that buy Call of Duty, people that buy Battlefield, they're not checking for the campaign. And if I'm not mistaken, y'all could correct me if I'm wrong, Battlefield 2042 didn't even have a campaign, did it? I don't know. Did it? Let me look that up real quick. Nope, Battlefield 2042 did not have a campaign. It was just straight multiplayer. So yeah, I think people are mostly rating this off the multiplayer because that's what most people are gonna play. The beta looked amazing to me. Like I said earlier, the campaign, whatever footage they took for this does not look like how the beta played. Does not look like how the beta played out. So I don't know. I'm still gonna try it out though. So yeah, y'all let me know how y'all feel down in the comments, right? So you already know the vibes. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. It's your boy JusticeXFalls, and we out. One.